Hey everybody, welcome to the Radical Rundown. I'm Phil, and this is our new staff member, Radical Ronnie. It's Ronnie Russell.
Man, here
we go.
Ronnie.
Radical Ronnie.
I thought it was Country Boy.
Yeah, well, Country Boy Ronnie. We have one of our first topics written in was asking how to become a professional bowler, how to become a PBA bowler.
Well, there's two levels of that. The first level is to carry a 200 average. The next level is to be very good and bowl all of your life and be able to beat guys such as my good friends ZJ Tackett, Tom Smallwood. If you could beat those guys, you could be a head pro. Or that you're just going to be a club player from then on. So, 200 average, you get your PBA card. To be really good on tour, you got to be able to beat guys like us.
So how do you get to that level? How much practice going in? When you first started, your first time you're going to become, I'm going to bowl professionally.
Well, I played baseball most of my life, and bowling was kind of my second thing, and decided not to play baseball when I got to Vincennes University and practiced 6 hours a day. There was nothing else to do. Coach Sparks had me going for 6 hours a day, and learned a lot, and it's just all about getting out there and doing it and believing in yourself.
It's like the guy that asked how to get to Carnegie Hall. Practice, practice, practice.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get the PBA tour? Practice, practice, practice. But one thing interesting about that topic is, people become one-dimensional. Mm-hmm. How many facets of your game do you have to master before you go out and say, I'm going to do this for a living?
Well, to be honest, you always have to have your A game. When your A game's going, you have to be able to beat everybody. But I think you have to really be able to do everything you can on the lanes to be able to beat the guys on tour, as far as playing up the lane, switching rev rates, tilts. No, not tilts, never say, but axis rotations, and just all kinds of little things you got to do to be able to beat these guys on tour, because you're not going to have your A game all the time.
No, and you won't get a check if it's not your A game.
Right. And if you can get a check with your C game, you're on the right track.
Yeah. Years ago, when I was bowling and younger, we didn't have as much collegiate or high school bowling. Mm-hmm. Didn't exist the way it does today. Junior bowling the same way. So you learned the hard way. You bowled action, you bowled league, you bowled pot games, and everything. But now, there's a little more options. You got kids that bowl high school or junior bowler, high school, collegiate. Mm-hmm. So leading up through that, when does a person realize maybe they have the right amount of talent? Is it from the competitiveness at that school level, or how about the regionals?
I would say, honestly, I think some kids actually see their potential, and their parents see their potential, as young as 14 or 15 years old now with junior gold, and with high school starting. We didn't have high school bowling. It started 2 years after I graduated, but right. I think you're starting to see kids, even with the two-handed talents, be really good really fast, and it's happening. There's going to be so many good bowlers on tour in the next 10 years that, right. One-handed bowling is going to be really tough at that point, because the kids just have such high rev rates, and they're able to knock down pins. But as far as that, collegiate bowling on top of that it's a big step into becoming such a good player over all the harder patterns. Because high school bowling uses a lot of house shots. Right. Collegiate patterns are usually pretty hard. And I think that, just having their own facilities in college and being able to use those facilities to become better bowlers is a big key to the next step. Yeah, and then how important do you think the regional level is? Regional level is huge. Anybody always wants to come on tour, I always tell them to come bowl some regionals first. And, yeah. Our region happens to be one of the toughest regions to get through. So if you can make it through our region and, get some checks or make some finals or whatever, right. Then you know kind of where you're at. Right. Yeah, we get that all the time about people wanting to bowl on tour. And if you can't beat everybody at home, you're really not going to beat everybody out on the road. Right. We use the same philosophy in golf, too. Yeah, I bet. If you can't beat the guys in your own state, then why are you going? Yeah, why are you going national? Try to beat national. And the regional is a great place because a lot of the national players obviously bowl regionals. Yeah. So, if you're finishing 20th in a regional consistently, you're better off just working in the lumberyard, Danny. Yeah, well, but at the same time, it also gives you kind of an idea of where you are at. Sure. And if you're smart enough and you go to these regionals or you have someone mentor you, they're able to tell you pretty much that you need to pay attention to what these guys are doing. Right. Their mentality and just, physically and just everything that is involved with bowling 8 games. And sure. And just watch them what they do the whole time. Yeah. Good deal. So people interested about going out on tour, here's a little bit of groundwork laid for you. Again,
Thank you for the question, and we'll be back with more Radical Rants.